You can plant a tiny seedling in the ground, and over the years, it will add hundreds of pounds of solid mass to its frame. Yet it never actually eats a meal. Instead of chewing on solid food, a plant survives entirely on a strict diet of just 3 things: sunlight, water, and carbon dioxide. While it looks stationary, the plant functions as a high-speed chemical factory, synthesizing its own food from nothing but light and thin air. The main floor of this factory is the leaf. If you look past its waxy outer surface, you step into a bustling microscopic environment. Inside the plant cells are tiny specialized rooms called chloroplasts. These chloroplasts are where the actual food production happens, and they are packed with a pigment known as chlorophyll. That signature green tint serves as visual proof of the plant's power source. Each molecule of chlorophyll acts as a biological solar panel, actively trapping energy from the sun. To keep the factory running, the leaf needs to pull carbon dioxide out of the air. It does this through tiny pores called stomata, a word that simply translates to mouths. They sit almost entirely on the underside of the leaf, which protects them from the direct baking sun and prevents the plant from drying out. Each stoma is flanked by 2 guard cells. When the plant has plenty of water, these guard cells swell up. This swelling causes them to bow outward, which pulls the central pore wide open so the plant can gulp in carbon dioxide. But if the soil gets dry or the sun goes down, water drains out of those guard cells. They shrivel back up, sealing the pore tight. Every single time a plant opens its doors to take in carbon dioxide, it risks letting its precious moisture evaporate away. It lives in a constant, delicate balancing act between starving for air and dying of thirst. Once the carbon dioxide is successfully inside the leaf, it meets up with water that has traveled all the way up the stem from the roots. Both ingredients enter the chloroplast. This is where those biological solar panels go to work. Sunlight strikes the chlorophyll, and the plant uses that intense energy to violently shatter the chemical bonds holding the water and carbon dioxide molecules together. Those loose atoms are immediately stitched back together into an entirely new arrangement called glucose. Glucose is a simple sugar, and it serves as the primary food source the plant stores to fuel its own growth. After assembling the glucose, there are a few oxygen atoms left over on the factory floor. They pair up into oxygen gas, drift out of the chloroplast, and exit the leaf through those stomatal pores. By forcing dead inorganic air and water to recombine under the power of the sun, plants manufacture the baseline energy source that feeds virtually every living organism on Earth. Because this chemical dance happens on a molecular level, it's completely invisible to the naked eye, but we can prove it's happening using a simple forensic tool, the iodine test. Iodine reacts with starch, which is just tightly packed chains of glucose, by turning a dark, inky blue-black. If you take a healthy green leaf while it's still attached to the plant and wrap a strip of aluminum foil tightly around its middle, you block out the sunlight. Leave it for a few days, then soak the leaf in iodine. The top and bottom instantly turn black, showing they are packed with freshly made starch, but the middle strip stays completely pale. Without light, the chemical factory in that section shut down. You can run a similar test by sealing half a leaf inside a glass jar containing sodium hydroxide. Sodium hydroxide chemically absorbs all the carbon dioxide from the air. When you test that leaf later, the half trapped inside the jar shows 0 starch. No carbon dioxide, no food. This exact process holds true even for plants with bright red or purple leaves. They still contain chlorophyll and run the same reactions. Their green pigment is just hidden underneath other colors. We don't have to guess how plants survive. The chemistry itself leaves a physical trail of evidence, proving exactly which ingredients are required to cook nature's recipe. If sunlight and carbon dioxide are the fuel, it seems logical that pumping in massive amounts of both would force a plant to grow at lightning speed. This chart shows exactly how a plant responds to more fuel. As you increase light or carbon dioxide on the x-axis, the photosynthesis rate on the y-axis shoots upward. But watch what happens next. The line hits a ceiling and goes completely flat. This is the saturation point. The chloroplasts are maxed out. You can flood the environment with blinding light and dense carbon dioxide, but the plant won't produce food any faster. Nature has strict speed limits, and a plant can only operate as fast as its most limited resource allows. Finding exactly where that ceiling sits allows biologists and farmers to perfectly optimize agricultural yields, pushing crops right to the limit without wasting resources. In massive modern greenhouse structures, engineers artificially dial in the precise light spectrums and gas concentrations needed to keep thousands of plants hovering right at their saturation points, farming with ruthless efficiency. Scaling up to the planetary level, this exact chemical reaction is how we develop renewable biofuels. It is also the Earth's primary biological mechanism for pulling carbon out of the atmosphere to regulate the climate. Every ordinary leaf is quietly executing a flawless chemical recipe that feeds the plant, scrubs the atmosphere, and keeps the rest of the planet breathing.